Hi, I'm Mr. Williamson. This is Torso Prep Quiz number 3. Hopefully you've taken the other two quizzes and done well on them. If not, I encourage you to do so. For this quiz, you probably should have a piece of paper, something you can write your answers down. Remember, spelling is not important on the test because it's an oral test. I'm not going to be waiting too long between questions because you can always pause the video if you need to think about the answer. So here we go. Okay, the question is, what is this organ and what does it do? In addition, you might also want to ask yourself or be prepared to ask anything that's in it, where does it come from and where does it go? All right. Again, pause the video if you need to, and if you're going to move on to the next question now. Looking again at the torso. Okay, next question is, what is this organ and what does it do? You might also want to be able to answer whatever it does, what is the purpose of the substance that it holds? Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Again, I'm going to move on. Again, we're looking at the torso, and this time we're asking, what is this and what does it do? Moving on to the next question, still looking at the torso in general and asking the question, what is this organ and what does it do? If it's part of a system, be prepared to answer where does it come from, what does it do in the system? Where does anything come from? Where does anything go from to or from this organ? All right, next question. We're looking at this particular organ or group of organs, and we're asking, what is this organ, and what does it do? All right, moving on again. Next question. Here's a close-up of the torso, and we're asking, or I'm asking, what is this organ and what does it do? Or what is that part of an organ? Maybe that's another way of putting it, but what does it do? And you probably need to be prepared to answer a lot of questions about that. It's a large part of a very large, complex system, and you need to be able to answer and address those type of things. Okay, next question is, we're looking back at the torso again, this time with some of the organs removed, and we're asking, what is this organ and what does it do? And if it's part of another organ, what part is it? And again, what does it do? All right, moving on. Again, looking at the torso. What is this organ and what does it do? Moving to the next question. What is this organ and what does it do? And finally, in the torso, what is this organ and what does it do? It's another one of those ones, part of a system that you probably should be able to answer anything that's going into or out of it. Where is it going? Where is it coming from? Things like that. So, all right, that's the end of the quiz. Let's take a look at the answers, okay? All right, the first question asks you about this organ down here, and that is the small intestine. The small intestine is the site of nutrient absorption. That's where you've digested. It's gone down the trachea, which you can't see there, but it's in this area. It's stored in the stomach down here, and then it goes into the small intestine. It goes in as a very liquid type of thing, fluid, and from that the nutrients are absorbed and removed from the fluid before it's passed on to the large intestine. So the food going, the substance going in here is coming from the stomach here, and it's going to go into the large intestine there. So it goes stomach, small intestine, large intestine. All right, the next question asks you about this organ right here, this little green organ, and that's the gallbladder. And the gallbladder stores bile. The bile is produced in the liver, and it's the purpose of the bile is to emulsify the fats in the digestive system. You want the fats as small as possible so the enzymes are able to get to the surface area of the fats and the bile basically allows it to stay really small droplets. Think of like salad dressing, where you shake it up and it all comes back up. The oil comes back to the top. Where this doesn't. This prevents the oil from separating into one big droplet, and it keeps it really small droplets. So that's the gallbladder. The next question he asked you, well, it was about the liver, and the liver. The function of the liver is to produce enzymes for both digestion and for breakdown of toxins. It will produce the enzymes to break down the nutrients into the basic molecules of carbohydrates, lipids, etc., and also to break down toxins. If you take a drug, or if you're exposed to something, or you drink, or almost anything that's introduced in your body, the liver will produce the enzymes to break most of that substances down, and you would excrete it in your waste. So. The next question was asked about the stomach. The stomach is basically stores and sterilizes. Let's make that an S. Stores and sterilizes the food. It stores it because that way allows you to eat a large quantity of food all at once, and you don't have to graze throughout the whole day. And it sterilizes it by using hydrochloric acid, which is HCl. Which is on a pH scale is about a 1 to 2. It's a really powerful acid. And it pretty much kills almost everything that you would eat that could cause harm to your systems later on. But it's stomach. That's not. It should be an A. I'm sorry about that. That's a stomach. That's bad spelling there. Anyway, stomach. Not always perfect. So. Okay, the next question asks you, it's kind of a repeat question. It asks you about the gallbladder. And I've already covered that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. It's just the back of the liver. This is the liver here. And actually the liver produces the bile, and it's stored in the gallbladder down here for being excreted into the small intestine to emulsify those fats. Next question asks you about this blood vessel up here. And this is the vena cava. And it's part of a really complex system, the circulatory system, because I'm expecting you to know a lot about it. First of all, it's blue. So it's going to be, the blood in it is going to be very high in carbon dioxide, and it's going to be low in oxygen. It's coming from the body. So the body has used the oxygen up and added carbon dioxide to it. All right? So you think about it. You need to think about it that way. If the body, it's coming from the body, it's used the oxygen, it's added carbon dioxide. It's then going to go into the right atrium. Oops, not bad. And then it's going to go into the right ventricle. And then it's going to go back up into this pulmonary artery, and it's going to go into the lungs here and here, where it's going to pick up the oxygen, be transported back into the left atrium, the left ventricle, and then it's going to head out towards the aorta, towards the body. And it'll go back down this way. But the question is, what is this? And it's the vena cava. All right, next question is, what is this small part here? Well, technically, it's the small intestine. But if you want to be really, that would be an answer. That's not the answer I'm looking for. Technically, it would be the duodenum. And the duodenum is the very first part of the small intestine. This is going to go down and become all of this down here. But it neutralizes the stomach acid. It's the first in our intestines, about the first foot or two, about the first 6 inches to a foot of the small intestine. And the stomach acid, which, as I said, is a pH of 1 to 2. And it's really strong. And you don't really want that in your small intestine because it would corrode your small intestine. So there's a secretion that neutralizes the stomach acid in the duodenum before it goes down in the small intestine. So the answer to that, you could say small intestine, but I would ask you for a little more detail, and you'll probably only get partial credit. But again, the answer is duodenum. So that's the answer I'm looking for. That would get you full credit. The next one is the pancreas. and it secretes insulin. Insulin is used by the cells to intake glucose, which they would use in the respiration process, the Krebs cycle inside the mitochondria, producing the 38 ATP that we get from each molecule of glucose. But the insulin is what allows the cells to become part of that, to pick up that glucose. One of the last ones, next to the last question, is the spleen. And it's this organ over here, and it's responsible for the production of red blood cells, which are sometimes called red RBCs, and it's also part of your immune system. Immune, that spelling is a little problem today. The immune system. So your red blood cells are produced there, and they're also absorbed there. So that's one of the third thing it does, is it takes care of our red blood cells. Your blood lasts about 30 days. You make red blood cells on the first of the month. Those cells are reabsorbed mostly by the spleen at the end of the month. Every day it produces about 1/30 of your blood supply, and it absorbs about 1/30 of your blood supply. So every month you're replenishing all your blood, and that takes place in the spleen. And it also helps with the immune system. And finally, the large intestine. The large intestine is a site of water absorption. And you eat all the food, and all the nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine down here, but it's still a liquid, and it finally gets into the large intestine, and it's absorbed. And that's where, as by pulling the water out, that's how we make the fecal material. You package up the waste into what we usually see as poop. If it's not removed, it's what the results is diarrhea. You don't remove that liquid from the fecal material, and it doesn't package up like we're used to. So, but it's the large intestine where the water is removed. There is one other organ here that we didn't, it was not asked about, but you can see here. And that is that this organ has tube here, and that is the esophagus. And that's the food that the tube that the food goes from. When you swallow, it goes down this tube, and it would come out here, and it would go into your stomach, which would be kind of in this area right here. But it's just a good view of the esophagus, and as I was looking at it, I thought about that. And that concludes the prep quiz. Hopefully you did well. If not, I would encourage you to take a look at the 2 videos that I have on the human torso discussion 1 and 2, and also consult your packet. If you have any further questions, make sure you ask me in class. I hope you're studying for the test. See you on test day. Good luck.